Hi, and welcome to the second hour of MindShifters Radio. And today is Friday, March the 10th, 2023. And if you didn't recognize it, that was a pre-recorded show. Dr. Tim is trying to save his voice. He's got laryngitis and a cold, so he is not with us today. Michael has now joined us live, and we had a couple hands up, and now they've disappeared. So if you still have a question or a comment, press 1 again, put your hand back up. Welcome, Michael.
Well, extending blessings to Dr. Tim and his voice, that healing happens quickly and completely. And I think it'd be awesome. Micah, I understand your hand was one of the hands that was up. Let's talk. Come on, say hello. Push 1 again. Let's go for it.
Well, her hand's not up, but Celinda's hand's back up. So I'm going to turn Celinda
awesome.
on.
Let's say hello to Celinda. Cool.
You're on the air.
Hello. How are you this fine day?
We're good. How are you?
We're good. We got about 4 inches more of snow last night. If you were to look out in our valley, what you would see is white and dark green. And trees coming alive, like the sap is starting to go up, but the ground is totally covered. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that with you because I imagine you're out digging in the dirt.
Well, we've got some rain today, and it's supposed to slow down, and I think we're going to get out there this afternoon, yes.
Beautiful. Well, think about me in my little garden. That's under 8 to 12 inches of snow.
Okay, we'll send love and light and warmth.
There we go. It's coming. It's melting. It's wet, and it's warm today, comparatively warm for here.
Right.
The recording that Dr. Tim had played today, when I was talking to, he was talking to Susan at the very last of that. I'd like to share a little, and perhaps if Susan is listening, it would possibly resonate for her. I really, really empathized with what she was feeling because that was my MO all of my life. Until I started, when I was doing the worksheet, started Magda's suggestion of so I can. And I found that my needing a certain outcome and my needing to get in there and fix it really had to do with me. It was my form of controlling behavior. So instead of being the drill sergeant mom, which I could when the stress got incredibly high for me, or I became the helicopter mom, and let me fix this for you, just as my mother would vacillate between. I just downloaded her parenting profile. And there was a lot of guilt and self-judgment around that and shame around that, and I'm still dealing with those primary emotions of guilt and shame. I'm responsible for all the woes in the world, and my value comes from fixing those woes, and if I can't fix them, I'm worthless, and that would be the guilt end.
Wow.
And then the shame end would be I am worthless, I am guilty because I'm not doing it right, and I am worthless, which is a shame. The other is the guilt. And I wanted to share that for Susan or anybody else who's listening because I kept doing that, and I kept adding, so I can. And it would be variations of feeling safe or being okay in some way. And I just want to share that because just now I'm beginning to be now when I see that so I can, what I'm seeing is a little tiny child instead of this wrong person, this damaged piece of goods. So it's a journey, and I find what's most helping is the blessing route and what does it mean to hold space. That's why that was such a meaningful talk to re-listen to. So I thank Dr. Tim very much. But I wanted to share that with you all.
Awesome. Sounds like a really wonderful series of insights, and of course a whole new level of work to be done. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I must say that being a constipated soul most of my life, that my elimination is blowing me out of the water. I'm also changing
so you're
my
getting
diet.
Well, it's called letting go.
Yeah. And I'm down now to where basically what I almost always choose in the animal proteins is eggs, and that's it. I've gone much more to a plant-based. I was before, and I'm still very, very appreciative of what Dr. Diottimo shared from his research, and I'm also listening more to Ruha. Listening more and saying, no, I tried the vegetarianism 20-some years ago, 30-some years ago, actually, and it didn't work for me, and the reason it didn't work for me was because of the way I set it up. And so now I take what I like from Diottimo and take what resonates, and then I just go on my own way. I've been reading some of the Seventh-day Adventist vegetarian magazines and things, reminding me of the direction I had. I feel like it was necessary for me to go through. Going back to meat eating, and I love meat. I do not deny the fact that I love eating lamb. I love eating those kinds of meats, and also my body is now telling me, well, that's fine, honey, but it doesn't work. It's not supporting you. And so I said, okay.
And how are worksheets going on those topics?
I don't do a lot of worksheets because I have felt more peace with the blessing and the things like that. How I like the worksheet is because they really focus me. And then when I feel an impulse to do a worksheet, I just get much more clarity. It's very helpful. It's just one of the tools in my little toolbox. And I pull them out and I use it and I say, oh, yeah. And I'm finding that most of my understanding is like it just comes, Michael. And now the practice, the discipline is my weak link. And so I'm looking at that now because I've had a very unstructured life because my let's say I've vacillated between chaos and rigidity. Does that sound familiar?
I understand.
Yeah, and it really is related to ADD and ADHD possibly, and to some degree, and also to PTSD. Yeah.
And recognize that each of those things, we've been taught to give them a name. Remember the word diagnosis if you break it down. A dyad is two, and an agnostic is someone who doesn't know. And so be careful of solidifying those guesses with, and they may be perfectly accurate, but be careful of solidifying them so that they're encrusted at another level. The truth is, we're energy beings, and there are anomalies that show up that we label with a certain set of words, and that set of words can keep us locked into that label. Whereas when you realize they're nothing but energy dynamics, all of those energy dynamics are completely and totally changeable. And as you do your work, they change.
Thank you. And I just realized as you said that, I don't feel that strongly about HD, ADD and those things, although I actually see some sorts of things, even to the spectrum of a little bit of autism. But they don't grab me the way I have latched on, or I haven't grabbed them the way I have latched on to hypoglycemia. So I'm looking at it, since the end result of hypoglycemia is the very same as diabetes. I mean, if it just keeps happening, whether your cells are getting the sugar in the first place because the liver's taking out of the blood too fast, or whether the cell is just so stuffed with sugar and fat that it says, we're not doing this anymore. Well, the end result seems to be the same. What's your take on that?
My take is that when I've seen people with diabetes who do their work around grief, when I see people with blood sugar problems who do their work around grief, their blood sugar problems and their diabetes disappear.
And I can't remember what the grief was about. Which organ is metaphorically represented?
Well, the pancreas is what controls the sugar and the insulin.
Right.
Gives those directions, and so the
and
willingness to process grief.
Right, and I've been doing a lot of that.
Well, my invitation at this point. My invitation at this point would be that when you're ready, you've got some time to do another piece of work, that you sit down and listen to the show again. And, you went through pretty quickly a whole series of potential worksheet issues when you first started talking. I couldn't repeat them, but if you go back and look at them, it would probably be worth being an observer of yourself speaking those words and then looking at what's the work and how does each of those things that you mentioned relate to grief. And I think one of the biggest griefs that a lot of people carry around with them unforgiven is what coulda, shoulda, woulda been. That I could have had this, and the loss of that is, I think, a lot of times what people are holding on to grief about.
Here's another thing I find fascinating, sir, and that is in the traditional Chinese medicine. Whoa, the wind is up. I hope Larry comes in pretty soon. In traditional Chinese medicine, the energy meridian that involves the pancreas also involves the, what's the other one? I just lost it. The one that has to do, it's an immune system one, the spleen. It involves the spleen. And
right.
I've reflected on that a lot, and I like to think the spleen pancreas meridian of traditional Chinese medicine, what it represents to me, is sweetness, support, and safety.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. And allowing yourself to have the sweetness of support and safety would be a replacement for the addiction to something like sugar. I think a lot of people who want sugar, want carbohydrates, want things that break down to sugar, is because they don't have sweetness in their lives, and the original sweetness is, you're welcomed into a safe and warm and wonderful world, and you're nurtured and taken care of. And as we become adults, sometimes that nurturing, falls upon our own shoulders, and the invitation to those around us, the gift of giving that both to ourselves and to others, and the invitation to receive it, just that nurturing sweetness is an awesome gift to give yourself and to give others.
And it is an infinite circle, isn't it, Michael and Jeanie, where on the circle every dot is an entry point.
Yes.
So whether we give it first or give it to ourselves first or fill in the blank,
Well, every entry point, remember we've talked about the article I'm working on of healing from the ground up. If we build our soil that we're going to grow our food in, that's another entry point.
Exactly.
There are many, many of them. That's a good way to say it, as an entry point into the healing process. And as we facilitate constructive energy in each entry point, we accelerate the whole process of healing.
Perfect. Isn't
so it can be nutrition. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it could be, as I say, the soil. It could be the nutrition of the food that we eat, even if we're not putting our hands in the soil personally. It could be the relationship dynamic. It could be the forgiveness dynamic. It could be the breath. It could be exercise. It could be appreciation for life. There's been a lot of research done on the shift in people's energy fields when they simply move into gratitude. Powerful energy. And in fact, the whole field of what's been called Christianities, their focal point has been, in the true sense of it, has been love. If you go to the Buddhist tradition, the focal point has been compassion, which is another aspect of being, another aspect of our true created nature. And I think that another aspect of being parallel with love and compassion is appreciation. Just the fact that we get to have a human life. Like, how awesome is that?
Really? Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I will go now so someone else can contribute and receive.
Sweet.
All right.
Well, have an awesome day. Nice to say hello.
Thank you, too. All right.
All right. Bye-bye. Take care. Blessings. Bye-bye. All right, Miss Jeanie. We have Ari Rain today, by the way. We're blessed to have that young lady with us. And do we have anybody in the phone queue with a hand up or anything happening in the chat room?
We do not have anybody with a hand up. We've got several new numbers on the switchboard. We had a really nice call started yesterday with a gentleman who was doing a gratitude hike. I'm not sure if this is his number back on the switchboard or not. If it is and you want to talk again, he pressed 1. I bet it's him. Welcome back.
Hello. You're talking about my assistant who called yesterday, and now I'm calling you about I'm on another gratitude hike this afternoon.
Well, how cool is that? I can't argue with that. Fabulous.
Yes, we are listening to your show as inspiration. It is a difficult hike, and I heard you talking about gratitude just now. I think that's fabulous.
Well, there's certainly been enough research done to prove its worth, and as I say, I think it's another natural aspect of our created essence as human beings. And sadly, we've come into a world that by and large has left most people beaten out of their humanness. And what this whole body of work is about is the practical tools for recovering our humanness, for getting, not recovery from a disease, but recovery of the truth of who we are as human beings. And, the best definition I've found of human life is just hold a newborn child and tap into their essence, and you know what life is. You know what love is. And this whole body of work that I've developed over the last 50 years is about how to be restored to that.
Yes. Oh,
so glad you're part of the
100%. Yes, the thing about the gratitude hike for us is it's not just a hike up a mountain. Everyone has their own mantra going up the hill. So mine is today, in God I move and breathe and have my being. I'm with my good friend Gail. Hers is just breathe. Do you have a mantra for when you're practicing gratitude?
The main focal point of everything we do is the breath. So yes, breathing is the most consistent thing that I focus on. is
yes,
just...
we love to take a deep breath, close our eyes, and just sort of picture the world and the life that you want, and then open them and look around. And when you're on a gratitude hike, obviously it's beautiful. The air is just so clean and beautiful up here. You can't not be grateful.
I'm with you 1,000%.
Oh, that's wonderful. We're taking a break just now to eat some bread. We've been hiking all morning, and I do love bread.
Well, receive the nourishment and breathe into it. You know, one of the things that I've observed over the years of working with people is when they lock into the non-human dynamics that our culture has kind of brainwashed into us, the first thing they do is hold the breath. It literally is a way of creating an unnatural condition in ourselves individually of an unconscious mind. I don't believe it's natural for us to have an unconscious mind. And yet, if you talk to psychologists today, they'll tell us that 90, 95, perhaps as much as 98% of our thought processes are unconscious, which means they're totally unnatural. And when you breathe, you know, the ancient teachings, they said, the veil of the temple must be rent in twain. And of course, they kind of implied that that was about a purple curtain in a church. But the temple is this body-mind unit, and the veil is the barrier between the subconscious and the unconscious. And when you open that veil, the unnatural condition of the unconscious mind disappears, and we get to function as human beings. Like, you know, it doesn't get better than that.
Absolutely. And you know, oh, this bread is so good. I was telling exactly what you're saying to Gail. I wish you could tell Gail that specifically. I said, you know, my name is Oprah, by the way. Yes, what we take into our body affects us in so many different ways. And you know, this bread, of course, I'm not talking about, you know, Wonder Bread. This is whole grains. This is very important to be very healthy. And we have, you know, meats here that are very specific and not factory farmed, and cheeses that, you know, we make sure we know everything that's coming into our bodies.
Well, did you hear that the Catholic Church is opening a cheese factory in Israel? And they're going to call it Jesus of Nazareth. Yeah, they're going to call it Jesus of Nazareth. Excuse me, I couldn't resist. I mean, you just created the opening. I couldn't resist.
You know, I did. I knew it was a spiritual show. I didn't know it was a comedy show as well.
Well, usually most people offer that I put out those groaners. In fact, they're called, my kids call them dad jokes, and you know, they roll their eyes every time I tell them, but I still tell them, and they still laugh. So.
Oh, I do the same. Gail calls them Oprah jokes because they're specifically silly to me. And and they flow even more when I'm out in nature and looking at all the things. Actually, oh my goodness, Gail's over there. I think she found a stray cat of some kind. Hold on just one second. Isn't that funny when you don't expect it? You're just having a meal and something comes over to say hello. Is this, now we're, well, it's bigger than a cat. It's like, Gail, I don't think you should touch that.
Probably out there bigger than a cat would be a good thing to keep some space.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to signal to her. Do not try to feed that. Do not try to feed that. Stop. I think that's about my move. Come on. Pass up. Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on just a second.
That's cool.
My God. Jesus, it's big. One moment. No. Oh God! All right. Are you still there?
We're still here. Hope everybody's safe and okay.
No. Oh God. All right. Well, my friend was trying to feed something, and because she did, and it attacked her, and I don't know if it's a mountain lion or what. It's large.
Oh no.
And I'm not. It was coming after me, and then I got behind Gail, and I feel just awful. I basically used her as a human shield, and she's not looking good. The line. Oh Christ.
Extending love in your direction, and it sounds like you would be time to focus on safety.
Yeah,
and breathe. Breathing with
did.
you.
I focused on my own safety, but I'm afraid that. Sorry, what did you say?
Just breathing with you. Just, creating that space of peace is one of the most powerful ways to bring a wild animal to a centered space.
Should I? Okay. Hold on. Should I talk to the animal? It's lurking. It's over by the trees. I'm afraid it's going to come back. Gail is in bad shape. I feel like I pushed her in front of it. I feel awful. Am I in trouble?
Well, I'd focus on just getting into a centered space and breathe at this moment.
Okay.
And invite Gail to do the
behind
same.
What was that?
Just suggesting that you invite Gail to breathe and be centered. That's the best way to keep an animal at bay that I know of.
Okay. I'm back behind a tree. I'm breathing. The animal is it's coming. It's walking back towards her. What do I do? Just continue to breathe.
I'm not sure what kind of an animal you're dealing with. I know that in the wild, oftentimes a lot of noise and looking big is a way to get something like that to move in the other direction. But.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Shall we let you go and let you be focused there?
No. Please stay with me. I need all the support.
Okay.
No. Stop. Oh, Jesus. Okay, no, it's back on Gail. It's ripped off part of her, and I don't know what to do. I'm back behind the tree. It doesn't see me yet. How do I distract it? How do I get away?
Is it the two of you there alone?
It's just us. It's just us hiking today. Oh, all my life you've been faithful. This is a grateful hike. Okay, it rips something off. What I'm going to do is try and throw it to distract the cat.
Yeah, is there anything in a stick, stones, whatever?
Yeah.
You have cell signal up there that you could call 911. If you're up there alone, you probably should call for some assistance.
Yes, and I will. Right now, I need spiritual assistance more than anything, as you know. Hold on. Let me see. Hey.
We're holding the space with you.
Thank you. All right. Oh, okay. It had bitten off her hand, and I threw the hand, and then it went over the cliff, and it went over the cliff with her, and I think it's gone, but I don't think Gail is okay.
A tourniquet around her hand, her arm.
Yeah, I don't know. This is bad. I feel like I pushed her in front of the lion earlier, and now I feel like I'm going to be in trouble, right?
Well, I'd be careful what you create.
What did you say?
Be careful where your mind goes. Be careful what you create. You could create being in trouble, or you could free your mind of that thought and let yourself be centered in what support does your friend need. And if in fact she's that badly injured, a 911 call as instantly as possible, I'd say, would be urgent.
okay, the place that my mind is taking me right now is that, no one else knows that we're up here. I don't want to get in trouble. Should I hide her? Because I'm not a doctor, but I don't think she's breathing, and maybe I should just, put her somewhere and then go.
So I think it's time to hang up the phone and call 911.
Okay, but
we can if she's really seriously injured, you need to, they're going to be able to trace your cell. I call 911 instantly.
Oh God, I didn't even think about tracing the cell.
Yeah.
I didn't think about tracing the cell. So I need. Yeah. So I would have to get rid of her completely.
Let's get off
the phone.
Just hide it. Let's get off the phone and call 911. Okay. Only you can do that. I can't do it from here.
So I should call 911 and maybe I'll say I just came across her, and I don't know what happened.
Just tell the truth. No, just tell the truth.
Well, part of the whole principle we're talking about is truth. So I'd support you holding a space of truth here. And I think you need to call 911 right now. So let's hang up the phone and do that, okay? Holding you in a blessing and sending love in your direction, okay?
I'm not sure what happened. Michael got disconnected when she hung up. So we'll give Michael just a moment to get dialed back in. And so let me let Michael may be in there talking to himself. Let me be sure that he knows that he got disconnected. So. Okay, he's dialing back in.
I'm here.
All right.
I think we just got taken into a kind of an elaborate scam. So we'll hold a space for somebody who needs to do that, whatever's going on, and we'll extend love in their direction. And so, Miss Jeanie, do we have anybody else in the phone queue with a hand up or anything happening in the chat room?
No, it is all quiet. And I had received a couple of texts from different people that said they didn't think that sounded like Oprah, even before the story started. So.
Right. Yeah, it didn't sound like her at all.
No.
So.
And they know enough of her story that, she does go gratitude hiking, and Gail is her best friend, and, that's...
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
we'll just hold the space for whatever's going on in their life.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we've got 26 minutes if somebody has a question or a comment. And if you weren't on at the very beginning, Dr. Tim has laryngitis, and he's under rest his voice, so that was why his show was pre-recorded yesterday and today both. So we hold the space that he gets better. And Susan just put her hand up. So, hey, Susan.
Well, I'm only just beautifully handled. Don't know what that was, but my heart is beating about twice as fast as it should. Hey,
yeah,
nice
I think somebody decided to set us up. So whatever it's about, we'll hold the space.
Yeah.
And how are you, young lady, besides your heart beating fast?
Talking to you yesterday, thank you. I've been like a roller coaster. But I've had a question in my mind for quite a while. You added something to a list of somethings, and you can answer this as soon as I tell you what the word is. You started talking about fawning as one of the something. So
when one goes into sympathetic dominance, it's fear, fright, flight, freeze, and fawning. They're the things that happen when one goes into survival mode in order to survive. And the fawning aspect of it is, I'm not safe, there's danger here. This person who's in front of me, probably a caretaker, and I'm in survival here. And so fawning becomes the state of, well, I'll do anything that this authority asks, or whoever's in control here asks, so that I survive. And
okay.
It's part of sympathetic dominance when blood flow is shunted to the legs, the arms for fight, flight, and to the lungs to allow more oxygen flow for survival to take place. Probably some of what's going on, if you notice everything that's going on in your structure right now, as you said, your heart rate is up, that's your body saying, I'm going into survival mode here. Yeah. And, the mind can't tell the difference between a real and imagined experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so that whole scenario as imagined, the mind takes as fact and plays it out physiologically.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's part of the power person thing. You do what you know you have to do to get along with your power person. But I had never heard fawning in that list. Yeah, yes. I hadn't heard that in the list, because I think of fawning as something that I do when, if I'm not vigilant, I'll overpraise someone or overcompliment in order to get them to like me. And it's something that I've been aware of for years. And right. I'm trying to discern between the difference between that, holding my horses about feeling real strong affection for a person. And so I might say something nice, but it's only about 1/10 of what I would like to say. I'm trying to manage that. This is a whole other thing, and I'm just observing now to see. I don't even know where to go with that. It's just something on the plate of self-observation. And I have another question that might bring us. Go ahead if you're going to say something.
Yeah, well, my thought would be that it's kind of a state of servitude where one becomes subservient to someone else and is looking for approval, favor, literally for survival. And that's how it ties into that sympathetic dominance mode. And it drains the thrive, regenerative, rest, digest functions of the body, because the energy, the blood flow literally is shunted away from there to those larger muscles. It's literally shunted away from the higher centers of the brain. Higher brain function is shut down when one goes into that state, and it's all about survival. And that would, my suspicion would be that would probably generally relate to a power person dynamic where one felt their survival was threatened by their power person.
Mm-hmm. Surely that's true. Well, I don't know what else to ask about that at the moment, but I have another question that might be related. I was just at the veterinarian with 2 of my cats for their senior cat checkups, and it was a very happy occasion. I love those guys in there. Then when I came out of the office and the cats were finished, I was paying my bill, and I noticed a woman standing aside, obviously extremely upset, crying quietly. And being at a vet, you figure if somebody's standing in a hallway without an animal crying, you know that the animal has been declared very sick or has just been put down. What do? I start to cry. And, that's none of my business. And I said, I'm crying just seeing you cry. And the woman said, oh, I'm so sorry. And I thought, we women are such a mess. Here she's apologizing to me for crying out of some grief. And I'm right with her, and she apologizes. I don't know what that is, but I think socially we women have some stuff to work on, or maybe it's just me. That, to me, you've often said nothing makes you sad. Well, I would have said to you, that made me sad, but I didn't dare say it because I know you're going to argue with that. But what was that? What was that? Just
well,
resonant?
I'm not sure if you're saying, tell me more about the question aspect of what you're saying. When I say nothing makes me sad, what I'm saying is I have sadness, and it isn't something outside of me that causes my sadness, though something outside of me can resonate my sadness, show me that it's there. And in that sense, it becomes the gift, because now recognizing that my sadness is based in something probably around loss, and loss is based in fear, I get to face a fear-based thought disorder and clean it up. As long as I speak from a space of denial, oh, that makes me sad, then my mind has to hallucinate according to my instructions and show me that something outside of me is the cause of that which is moving inside of me. And so it's the opportunity when I shift my thoughts and I shift my language to, oh, that, when I watched that in that movie, or when that person said or did this, it resonated a lot of sadness for me. Now I've given my mind permission to show me the root of my sadness, and that's where I can work through it.
So are you saying, I understand, and you've often said that, and I think it's very true, but are you saying that if I had no sadness in me, the sadness of this woman would not move me at all?
Well, I think it would move you, it would resonate, or you would stand in a space different than one of sadness. So someone's in this deep experience that has elicited grief and sadness and pain and trauma for them. If I have no grief, pain, sadness, or trauma that matches that, then that's not what's going to move in me, and I get to stand as love, as a human being, in support for them, rather than losing my experience of myself as love to this emotion that's going on inside of my physiology.
Which to me felt like love. So I'm going to have to sort this out on my own here. It wasn't anything that I planned. I mean, it was just instantaneous, and I didn't know the story, but I felt as if I was caring for her very much.
It sounds like a powerful space of empathy. It sounds like some very powerful empathy for her. And I think that's a very appropriate response for us as humans. So I can identify with her pain, and I'm here to be a space of support and caring, empathy for her pain, and support for her healing.
Right. Oh, I could say all that. But I was surprised at how, I'm not a crier, so I was surprised at the showing up of the waterworks so quickly. So I it's just...
Well, it sounds like the circumstance is one that bypassed your denial system and showed you a deeper part of your own mind as you stood in that space of empathy.
It was very sweet. Everybody, the doctor came out, everybody was just holding huge space of love for this woman. And that's the kind of place this is. It's called the Allentown Cat Clinic, and they only deal with cats. And they all have stories about their cats, and they all own 1 million cats, and it's just wonderful.
Everybody cherishes their cats fully, right? Yeah.
Right. Anyway, well, okay. Thanks for the answers, and yeah, I've been kind of a fawner. I think that's what it is all my life. It's something that I watch closely because I don't like receiving insincere affection, and that's what I think I'm calling fawning in my mind.
Yes, that would be the definition of it. That's exactly what it is. And so it's using flattery, if I go to the definition in the dictionary, seeking or used to seek approval and or favor by means of flattery.
Mm-hmm. The irony is, if, like in my situation, I think my bottom line sentence to my mother would be, I want you to like me. Not even love me. I want you to like me. And I'm sure she did now. I'm sure she did.
Yeah.
But I want you to like me. And so when someone likes me, I go overboard. Even I could say the radio show, you give us all a huge amount of attention. You're willing to pick through stuff, look at stuff, teach, repeat over and over if you have to, what we need to learn. I appreciate that, and it feels like love to me. And so I might be more, the temptation for me is to gush and be over appreciative and thank you too much in Fawn, in other words. So it's a funny equation.
And my take is when someone gives me a genuine gift, that I don't think there can be such a thing as over appreciation.
That's good
like
to hear.
Oftentimes I'll very genuinely say to you that I really appreciate the questioning mind you have and what you bring to the show, because you voice what many people either aren't in touch with or refuse to be in touch with. And it's, I think, an awesome gift to this show. So I deeply appreciate that about you, and I thank you for saying thank you for what you appreciate about me. I think that's a great place to be.
So it seems okay? Oh, good.
It's okay with me.
Well, I had a very, very good experience with a fellow composer yesterday. He sent me a sound file of a piece he had written years ago. He sings in my choir with me, and he's a little bit of a curmudgeon, and he's very smart and has perfect pitch, and he's just a great guy in his own angular, funny way. And he sent me a piece, and when I do a piece at church, I get feedback, but nobody has ever shown the level of appreciation I felt for this piece. I hoped that I would like it, because I didn't want to have to say, oh, thank you so much. It's very interesting how you modulated from here to here. Say a lot of stuff so that I didn't have to say that I didn't really like it. On the other hand, luckily, I absolutely loved this piece, and the words weren't with it, so I texted him and said, I need to hear the words, because it was a song set to a poem. The piece stands as a piece of music, but it's abstract at this point. So he sent the words. Then I wrote my comments, and I felt like jumping out of my skin to him because I loved it so much. And so I told him so. I said, this is what I like, and I like this, and I like this so much, and I was so moved. I've been kind of depressed, and I really felt so cheered up by listening to it, even though it's a very poignant, a very poignant, sort of even sad piece. I should send you the poem sometime. Beautiful. It's about Jesus.
Please do.
Welcoming Jesus. Oh, it's beautiful. Anyway, he wrote back and he said, I can't tell you how wonderful it is to get feedback from a fellow composer. And he went on for a while, and I thought, we connected. I didn't do too much. He accepted everything I said. It was like a miracle to me. I think socially, I just don't know how to quite regulate. And I'm busy on it, and it's kind of exciting to take a dare and get such a good answer. Yay.
Well, my offering would be, if you're going to err in a direction, err in the direction of being over enthusiastic about what you're receiving. I think that it ties in with our little scam call from earlier about gratitude. It's appreciation, and I think it's an awesome gift to give people when you appreciate something that they've given, and the receiving of it is, receiving something like that is a form of communication. It opens an energetic space, and it is just the receiving of it, even if nothing is ever said. But then when you give the feedback of appreciation, I think that, to me, when I see something that I like and appreciate, oftentimes we're on the road and, there's a fair going on and there's somebody who's got a piece of art that's, they've done with their own hands. It's like, to me, this is just like, wow, this is like love in form. And my gratitude for that's, it touches a place in me that's pretty sweet for me. So
that's great. That's great. These are little portals. A piece of music, a piece of art, a baby. They are portals. It's like special delivery. God's around. Not that God isn't around, but you get it kind of. You all of a sudden feel it.
Yes.
The lesson in Course in Miracles, lesson 222. I don't even know the exact words. God is with me. I think it's one of those lessons that stuck in my mind because it's a kind of a magic number. And sometimes when I'm not feeling too good, I'll open a book and it'll fall open to page 222, and it's like saying, "Yo, I'm here." Synchronicity things, Love it. Anyway.
Well, the corollary, to me, the corollary of that lesson is when I speak of, the presence of love, the Creator is with me, is, am I with the Creator? Do I choose to be that? And when I do, then everything becomes miraculous. Everything becomes, a reason for celebration and excitement, because life is exciting. To have a human life is exciting, and to have it touched by another's creativity or another's process or even another's suffering that draws forward the presence of love in a new way, in a new venue, I think is a gift we give each other.
When we do, and I think that's great, and it sounds as if you do it a lot. I'm working on it.
I think it's part of our purpose. It's what we're here for.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay.
All right. Well, breathing with you.
Thanks.
Sweet. Well, any other thoughts for you today?
No, but only that breathing is something I forget to do, and it's good to be reminded all the time. Whenever it comes to mind, I realize I haven't been, we're breathing, we're alive, we're upright, but it's shallow, and it's not a flow, and it's good to be reminded to do that a lot.
Yes. The breath of life is an awesome gift.
How's it feel to be home?
Nice. I'm glad to be home. It was really awesome to be with my son and his wife, and of course Kaylee Joe. I got several hours of baby hugs and playtime and smiles. She's at that awesome age where you look at her and smile, and she just returns the smile, and the arms go, and the head go, and the hands go, and the feet go, and just so pure great. Excitement and joy. Which we're kind of told to dampen as children. And I think that's what we're talking about now, is bringing that level of aliveness back into the norm.
Oh, that would be such a great thing to have permission to do that. And who's withholding it? Us. Yeah.
You've got my permission. And I receive yours.
Thanks.
So let's go for it. All right. You have a blessed one.
As you would say, awesome. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Yes, for sure. All right. Take care. Blessings.
You too. Blessings too.
Breathing with you.
So,
Miss
have
Jeanie?
another hand up.
Great.
Have
Let's say
5
hello.
minutes. I think this is Miss Ann, 760. You're on the air.
Hey, it is. Can you keep Susan's number open as well, Susan?
It is.
I'm calling.
Susan, if you're still there.
I'm
definitely still here.
Cool.
Okay.
Go for it, ladies.
Well, because I want
Welcome, Ann. Haven't heard from you in a while.
Oh, thank you. I want to refer to what she was talking about in the vet clinic. And I'm asking for myself as well, but I don't know if that's why I want her on there to see if it resonates with her or not. If I was in that clinic and I didn't have a cat, but I was, there with somebody else who had a cat or something, and I came up to the lady who's crying, I would ask is there anything is it okay if I pray with you for whatever's going on with you? So I wouldn't start crying, but I could start crying if I was praying with her, right? Because I would do the same thing with dogs. But is it more about how she reacted to you saying something? Because she apologized, and that's what I heard from you, that was more bothersome than actually the crying. Does that make sense, Michael?
I hear you.
Okay with that?
Yeah, I think you're coming across perfectly. And, oftentimes people, they feel like they have to apologize for existing.
Yeah.
And we don't.
Right. Okay. Because, I get so excited when you get excited, Susan, about what you just shared about, the piece that was composed and that, listening and your feedback with that. And so, and I'm the same way. So some of my areas that I still have work to do is about, okay, I'm not quite as good at this, but you're so great at your music and you're so great at that. And some of us who are more challenged with learning the piano or, that kind of thing, it's like, oh my, I would love that. But then you're in a place where you're distracted by somebody, saying they're sorry, and did you cause it? Did you cause her sorriness or something? Does that make sense, Susan?
I think so. Those are two things, the composer, and I'll talk about the cat woman. She said, oh, I'm sorry. And I said, listen, I'm just with you. I don't know what's happening, but I've lost pets. I've had sick pets, and my heart's just wide open for you. And so, I didn't go over to her. In fact, the doctor came out and put her arms around her, and the tech people were there. There was nothing it's perfectly appropriate to say, can I pray with you? But the scenario wouldn't have been right for that. I was paying my bill at the desk, and she was maybe 15 feet away.
But what you just said was the rest of the story for me.
Yeah.
Then you related to her saying that to you. Okay.
Yeah, I just said, no apology. I'm just feeling with you. Good grief. And, then everybody else was around. It was like we were all one big heart in there. It was nice. A wonderful moment. Probably the least nice for the woman, because she's thinking about her whatever beast she's losing. So,
right.
Anyway.
Okay, but that's cool, because you shared just now the rest of, that triggered you was saying you're sorry. You said something to her about it, and you empathized with her. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
What I'm hearing here, and I think it's a big issue to be healed on the planet, is that people have been taught that their existence is an interference, and that their inconvenience or their pain is some sort of a burden on people, rather than we've been taught that we deserve support, and when somebody comes to support us, we can let go of this whole story that, I apologize for my existence, I apologize for being in pain. It's like, nobody has to do that. We're humans. We can be here with each other with just sweetness and presence, and what a gift to give, whatever's going on in someone's life.
But that is an old problem on the planet. My best friend in New Haven, she's a writer, and we'd go walking, and I'd say, what are you doing today in your head? And she said, I'm trying to allow myself to take up space. We used to laugh about that we didn't feel right about taking up space on the planet.
Yeah. I mean, that's true, and that's oftentimes a message that comes from a power person, like, you're an interruption of my life. And, life is not an interruption. Life is an opportunity to really express and experience who we are, and to be received in the world for that. So I join you in that, ladies. That's a good point. Good one to bring up.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. So sending hugs to you, Susan.
You too, Ann. It's good to see your voice.
Sending virtual hugs, because you've made so much progress, and I know I get comments, hey, I've made progress, and I have to take that in myself, as well. So I think we're doing good. Thank
Sweet. Awesome.
Great.
All right, ladies. Well, the show's going to cut us off any second, so I'm just going to say thank you for sharing and thank you for your input, and have a blessed day.